Hello everyone, this is Rahul Malhotra from SFDC Stop, and in this video I am going to tell you that how you can connect your Salesforce org with Postman. So before moving ahead, we must know what is API and what is Postman and what is integration. So this is basically, you can say, the very basics of integration. So integration is when you connect your system with some other system, and API mainly stands for Application Programming Interface. So in case of API, you can say that when we connect two systems, suppose if I want to connect system 1 with system 2, then I should have an interface between the both the systems, using which system 2 can actually send some data to the system 1 and also receive data from system 1. So that particular interface is, you can say, the Application Programming Interface, which is the API. For an example, if I want to connect with GitHub, and then I have a interface with GitHub, that is API dot github.com/users. So if I actually want, I send a request to this URL, I am actually getting the data of the users. So this is a kind of simple API that we can take it as an example. So I'm sending a request to the third party server, that is github.com, and I am receiving the users data in the response, and I'm accessing actually a particular endpoint, so I'm getting a particular type of data. So this is how an API works, right? The next thing is, what is Postman? So Postman is nothing but an API development environment that is mainly used to test APIs, and we need to test it. I mean, if I'm sending a request, then I'm getting the proper response or not. So that is what we test using Postman. And now what we are going to do, we are actually going to connect with our Salesforce org, which is here, using the API, and we are going to connect it using this Postman tool. So in this Postman tool is mainly used to send some requests to a third party server and get a response. You can make a different type of requests, like you can create a get request, a post request, put, patch, delete, copy, head, and so on. So and you have the option to add some query parameters in the URL, add some kind of authorization, some headers in the URL in the request, and in the body you can also add some form data, like I'm filling a form and I'm sending a request. So that is like that. Okay, so we'll see this in detail when we actually connect with our Salesforce org using Postman, and we'll try to interact with our Salesforce org using the standard APIs that are given by Salesforce, right? Okay, so to create a connected app in your Salesforce, I mean, when you want to connect to your Salesforce org using the Postman or using any third-party server, if you want to connect to Salesforce, you need a connected app from in your Salesforce org. So to create a connected app, you just need to go to setup, like I have already in setup, and you need to search for app, and under the create section you will see apps. Just click on that, and then in the third section you will see you have connected apps. So I'm going to click on new to create a new connected app. So what is a connected app? In short, I can say that a connected app is a gateway using which you are connecting with your Salesforce environment. Suppose I have my own users and I have my own user credential, but I want to connect to the Salesforce environment using the API or using any, I mean, from a third party software or from third party server. Then I must go through some of the additional authentication processes, and a connected app opens a gateway for me to connect any third party server to this, or you can say any third party user or client, that is like Postman, to my Salesforce org. So for this we have some mandatory fields that we are going to fill up. We have a connected app name, so I'm going to write here as SFDC stop and connected app, and the API name will be the same as FDC stop connected app. It is already populated. And for the contact email, I recommend you to give your own email. For right now, I'm just adding a dummy email, that is rahul@sfdcstop.com. So I'm just using a dummy email to show you. And now I'm going to click on this checkbox, which is enable auth settings. So what does checkbox actually do? Like I have different type of flows using which I can connect with my Salesforce environment, right? So the main two most popular flows are username password flow and authorization code flow. So when you are connecting or you are establishing a server to server connection, you can use the authorization code flow. Let me just search it here also. uh, I think it's written. Yep. So when you are connecting, you are making a server to server flow, then you can use the authorization code flow. However, I am connecting an external client, that is a kind of yeah, it is a kind of client that is actually connecting with the server. So I will be using username password flow. That doesn't mean that you can't use username password flow when you are connecting different servers. It's just a bit of thing that you they have do two flows, and it's recommended to use authorization code flow in that case, but you can use username password flows as well, because authorization code flow is a bit complex to implement and username password flow is easier. And for the callback URL, this is mainly required when we are using the authorization code flow, because in that case, you are actually appending the authorization code to this callback URL as a query parameter. Just to give you a heads up, in the authorization code flow, we actually, I actually suppose this is server one, and this on the right side I have server two. So in the authorization code flow, actually hit my server two, get the authorization code onto the callback URL that I have specified, and then using that code, I again hit server two, which is my Salesforce, and I then get the access token, and then I can use that token anywhere to access all the APIs, and or you can say interact with my environment. However, in the username password flow, we use the actual user's username and password to get directly the token, and we skip that authorization code stuff. So for the callback URL, I can write here anything. For now, I am writing here as sfdcstop.com, and next we need to select the auth scopes. So auth scopes are like I already said that your connected app is like a gateway to your Salesforce environment, right? So auth scopes are basically limiting your external system or client to access the data in Salesforce, or you can say to have the different type of accesses in Salesforce. Suppose I have made a connected app, and I want my external system to have the access to only chatter data, that is my chatter post and all that stuff. And I want external user to have the access to my orgs data only. So I can select different type of permissions that I can give to my integration user or client or system, I should say, so that hey, integration user, you can only access this type of data that is allowed to you. Okay, so what I'm going to do for now, I'm going to give it this permission, that is access and manage your data, because I'm going to actually deal with the Salesforce data as a sample to show you that we are able to connect with my Salesforce org, and we are able to see the data or fetch the data from using the standard APIs, right? Or the custom APIs maybe. Okay, so that's all what is required, and you need to fill this stuff only, and then you can click on save. So once you clicked on save, you will see this type of screen which says allow from 2 to 10 minutes for the changes to take effect on the server before using the connected app. So you can click on continue, and you can actually wait for 2 to 10 minutes. It's recommended, but actually I haven't used that. I haven't waited for 2 to 10 minutes, because um, it's actually ready. When you click on save, it's most probably it's ready, but in case it's not, you can wait for 2 to 10 minutes. So you will see that my connected app has generated a consumer key and a consumer secret that I can click to reveal this consumer secret. And I'm going to use the username password flow. So let's make a request to this Salesforce org now, because our connected app is ready, and see whether we are able to connect with our Salesforce environment or not. So I'm going to open the Postman, and I'm going to make a post request here. And first of all, I told you about both the flows. Like in the authorization code, I get the authorization code first, and then the access token that I need to use, because access token is the main thing that you need to get after the authorization. If you have the access token, this means that you are authorized, and then you can interact with your Salesforce environment directly. So we are doing all this stuff, creating the connected app and all that stuff, just to get the access token, right? So to get access token, what we need to do, uh, because we are using auth, so Salesforce has given us two URLs. If you are using a developer or production environment, you can use login.salesforce.com/services/auth2/token to get the access token. If you are using a sandbox, you can use test.salesforce.com/services/auth2/token to get the access token. So here I'm using a developer org, so I'll be copying this URL and I'll be pasting it here. And in the request body, I have clicked on the body tab directly, and I have clicked on this form data radio button. And now in the request body, I need to give some parameters, so you can say some key value pairs, so that I can tell who I am. I can authorize myself in for my Salesforce environment, right? So those keys are actually first username. So this is the username that you actually use to log in into Salesforce. So my username is test user 9090 @example.com, and next you need to give the password. So this is the actual password that you use to log in into Salesforce, right? You need to use the actual password, your own password. So I'm giving my password as test1234. So this username and password are basically the actual username and password that you use to log in into Salesforce. So if I use this password right now, I'll be able to log in into my Salesforce org. Okay. Next, we need to specify grant underscore type. So for this request, my grant type is password because I'm using the username password flow. And for next part, I need to specify the client underscore ID. So this client ID is nothing but the client ID from our connected app. So when you created a connected app, you have the consumer key. So we'll be using this consumer key as the client ID for our request. So I'm just going to copy this consumer key and I'm going to paste it here. And the next point is client underscore secret. So this client secret is also given to me by the connected app. I can click it to reveal. So this is my consumer secret, which is actually the client secret for me. So I have my username, password, grant type, client ID, and in the client secret, I'm going to give this secret. And then I'm going to click on send, so that I can specify that, hey Salesforce, this is my username, this is my password, these are the details of the connected app that I have made in the Salesforce environment. Please verify all these and give me an access token so that I can interact with you. So once I click on send, I should receive the access token the response. So we have a response down there which says invalid grant, and then the error description is authentication failure. So I was unable to authenticate with my Salesforce environment using these details. So Salesforce sometimes, uh, sometimes or most of the time, Salesforce requires some additional authentication to connect with it. So what you can do for additional authentication, what we need to do, we actually need to go to our user and go to my settings. So you can click on my settings, and here you can search for in your own settings, that is in your user settings, you can search for uh, token, and here you will see you have an option of reset my security token. So if you have your security token already, that's well and good, and if you don't have your security token, then because the security token is particularly associated with that particular user, right? So this security token is associated with my user. So I have an option to reset my security token. So if I click on this button, a new security token will be emailed to my mail ID that is associated with my this user account. So I'll show you the screenshot because I'm not going to click on it again. I already have my security token now. So once you click on this, it will give you a message like we sent a new security token to your email address for your account. So you will get that security token, and I already have that security token, so I'm going to use that right now. So this is my security token, and remember, when you have your security token on the email, then your security token is case sensitive, so you just need to copy that security token exactly, and you need to use this security token. So where I'm going to add a security token, I'm actually going to append it after my password. So this is my actual password, that is test1234, and I'm going to append my security token after this password. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on send again, and let's see if this time we are able to get an access token or not. So I clicked on send, and I should get an access token this time. Here it is, access underscore token. So this time I was able to get an access token, which is the unique token that I am going to use to connect with my Salesforce environment. So now I'm able to connect to my Salesforce. I mean, I'm able to authorize myself to my Salesforce environment using Postman, and I was able to get access token. So the next step is to actually see that whether we are able to do some stuff or not. So you can search for REST API developer guide, and you can do a lot of stuff using the standard APIs that are provided by Salesforce. You can create records, you can fetch records, you can update records, you can, I think, do a lot of stuff. I mean, you can interact with chatter, you can create a chatter post and do a lot of stuff. So what I'm going to do right now, just to give you a sample, I'm actually going to query some data from my Salesforce. So I have a query option also, in which after the base URL, and I let me show you what is the URL actually. So to query, I am using this URL here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this in a new tab. So what is the URL? The URL is that your actual Salesforce instance, which is for me, it's this, my Salesforce base URL. So I'm going to copy and paste it here. After that, I have services and then data and then version 42.0 and query and then my query. So if you see that this is my base URL, and then I have services and then data, because I'm going to deal with data, so I'm using this. And after the data, the query document has given you what you need to have. You need to have your version and then the query, and then in the query parameter, which has a key of q, you need to have a value of your your actual SQL query, right? So I have my data, I have my version as 42.0, I have my query, and in the query parameter, which is automatically displayed here, I have a key of q, and I have a value of select name comma type from account. So where I usually have spaces in the query, I have added plus, because we don't have spaces in the query parameters, in any of the query parameters. So in case of this Salesforce API mainly, so I have select plus name comma type plus from and plus account. So this is how my query look like: select name comma type from account. So once I click on send, I should be able to access, I mean, actually execute this query on my Salesforce environment, and I should be able to get the name and type from different accounts. But Salesforce isn't aware still that I am the one who got the access token and who is interacting with the Salesforce, right? So what I need to do, I need to actually copy this access token from our response. So I'm going to copy it, and in any of the requests that I'm making to Salesforce to access data, to insert data, to delete data, or to do anything. I mean, when I'm interacting with Salesforce, what I need to do, I need to go to the authorization, I mean the header tab, and here I should add a key named as authorization, and in the value I can add bearer, bearer, and then a single space, and then my access token that I got from my previous request. So using this header, I am actually going to tell Salesforce that, hey Salesforce, I am the one who got access token from you, and I am actually, you can say, requesting to query some accounts from my Salesforce environment and give it to me as a response, right? So whether you are making a GET request or a POST request, because in case of query, we can make a GET request and add it as a query parameter. But you must add this header with the key authorization, and value is bearer space your access token each time you are making any kind of interaction with your Salesforce environment. And in case you are not able to get a result using this access token, then because it may happen after some time, maybe 2-3 hours, that you are not able to get the response back, or it will show you a message that your access token is expired, because in that case your access token may be expired. So in that case, you actually need to go to this and click on send again and get a new access token from the Salesforce, because access token comes with an expiry that is actually configurable in your Salesforce org 2 that you can configure. If you want to extend it, you can do that. So I'm just going to click on send and see what I'm getting in the response. So here you can see that I have a JSON response in which the total size is 48, that is total accounts in my org. And then for each accounts, I have a JSON array named with the key records, and I have each account with my name and account type. So I can see all my records that are queried from my Salesforce environment here. And if I use any account, suppose I'm using this account name, which is Jenny Point, and the type for this account is customer hyphen channel. So I can actually go to my Salesforce org and check that whether this account exists or not. So I just written here Jenny Point and this account is available. And if I see the type, it should be my customer hyphen channel. So if I'm checking the account type, it's actually customer hyphen channel. So I'm able to get the data from my Salesforce org using Postman once I have authenticated, right? Even if I want to do some changes, suppose in the query parameter, I actually need to add with type, I actually want to query the phone also. So I just click on send again, and in the response, now I can see that I have my name, type, and phone. Suppose for Jenny Point, I have my type as customer hyphen channel, and the phone is this 650-867-3450. So I can actually copy and check whether this phone is the same or not. So it is the same information that I am getting from my Salesforce org using Postman. So this was a simple example that you can, in which we queried actually our Salesforce org and had a look at the accounts that I queried from Salesforce. So I think that's all for this tutorial, guys. And if you like this video, just let me know in the comment section. And if you want to know about more about, you can say, how you can integrate with Salesforce, how you can do a lot of stuff using the standard APIs that are available, and how you can create your own custom APIs, just let me know in the comment section down below. You can also visit my blog. It has all the information and the screenshots out there. And uh, I think that's all for this tutorial. Have a great day. Bye bye.